Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Spooky Lechuga. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about the Operator Stinger, a support character. Although don't let that fool you, this is also a defensive and offensive type of character. It just all depends on how you play with the smokes. But let's go ahead and get into the abilities before we get into some of the examples and gameplay I have for you guys. So the Hive Tech Pistol basically heals people. You can either hip fire or aim down sights. Both will still lock on. It just depends on if you want a single target or not. And then the healing is good, all right? So it's 15 health on immediately, and then another 60 health over 60 seconds. So it is worth helping your teammates out. That is 75 health over a minute. That is fantastic healing. All right. Not only that, but it also gives you about 15 to 20 seconds of making sure that if you have a fracture or something and it makes your vision blurry, it will stop that. All right. Next up, we have the smoke screen. Basically, it's just a wall of smoke. You either shoot it forward or you can direct it. It's very good for basically covering certain areas, making sure that you can't be seen, or creating space so that you can either back up or actually rush people. It's the same thing with the Hive Tech Smoke Grenade, which comes back a little faster. But this grenade is amazing just for the simple fact that you can throw it and then shoot a dart into it, and it'll turn the whole cloud green. And then when an enemy, or I mean not an enemy, when an ally runs through it, it'll heal for 60 health over 60 seconds again. And I think this actually stacks with your normal healing. So just think about that. That's a lot of healing all at once. Lastly, we have Expertly Rescue, which is basically just meaning that you heal or revive 25% faster than the other characters do. You actually revive people from, instead of 10 health, to 40, so they have a little bit more leeway. And then on top of that, when you do fully rescue them from being all the way down, instead of having that debuff that only limits you to 80 health, you're still going to be at 100. But don't let that fool you. That still means that once you're full dead and you come back, if you die again, you are out for the game. So just be careful with that. And here we go. Let's get into some examples. So first off, right here, it is from a K416 video, but as you can see, I got a little bit of damage, and I knew I actually had the dart, so I healed myself immediately. It's a good way to kind of get back into the fight right away if you lost some health, but not all. So just go ahead and pop this little syringe, Try to do that in the middle of fights. And then here, I actually did an offensive smoke where I threw one down and accidentally ziplined, but it popped up at just the right time for me to get some hits in, for my teammate to throw a grenade, and for me to come back up without all being seen still. And it's perfect because all this was a defensive and offensive grenade. It actually created space so that he couldn't, if he was still alive, see me where I was and aim at me properly, and we could go down without him being able to do much of anything at all. Because we had one down and he was still there, he was by himself. Turns out the third ended up being, behind us later, but it's neither here nor there. Let's get into the next example. So for this next example, what we got is that I had 4 syringes, so I knew, okay, what I can do between fights is go ahead and do some passive healing for both of my teammates and myself. Myself might be a little less than theirs because it's, self-healing doesn't last nearly as long as it does for the healing on your teammates, but it is still worth healing your teammates just for the fact that you never know when you're going to get into a fight, and it's best to have a little bit of healing going on even while they're in the background. You never know if that little bit of health would have actually helped keep them in the fight or not. So just a heads up. So for this one, what I wanted to show you is to try to smoke off your extraction place. So basically, I threw a pretty bad line. I could have just directed it and curved it. I just kind of threw it down. We had a minute left and I just wanted to get into extract. And then I threw a smoke in the truck to make sure that if anyone did see me get into the truck, they weren't going to be entirely sure where I was. Now, they might have been able to just shoot the same spot and known if they were from somewhere else, but I just wanted to make sure. We ended up getting out, but you never really know when you're going to encounter someone camping. So here is another example of me doing something where I used the smokes offensively. Basically, we knew there was a team up here. I could see them on the left, so I went ahead and did a smoke further to the right of them to create space where they couldn't entirely tell where I was coming up or running up from. And then I threw another smoke to create just a little more space and then jump around. And as you can see, if I would have jumped over before without that smoke, they would have seen me a lot sooner before I probably could have gotten them, and I would have probably actually either gotten close to death or I would have died. So it was a good thing I did the smoke how I did. So for this example, what we had was the Mandelbrick. So he said level 2, he shot a Luna arrow. As you can see, there was 2 on the right and 1 on the left. So the further I kind of got up, the more it kind of clicked in my head. Oh, maybe if I get close enough, I should throw smokes down, you know? But first I wanted to make sure maybe there wasn't an angle I could see them and they could see me, or, you know, maybe I could tell exactly where one was because we only knew a general location, right? Didn't see anything here, so when I come around to the right, I realized, well, what if another team comes from the right side of this wall? So I threw a small smoke to make sure we had some space and cover, and then I threw down the line to make sure the right side too couldn't actually shoot us. Sadly, one of my teammates went down, but I was actually able to get the trade, so basically it ended up working out pretty well. And then I pick him up, get him up, and now, and something off camera I didn't actually show was that my other teammate had actually killed somebody too, so now this was a 3v1 just because we got him up, and then, you know, the guy I got up actually got the last guy, and then bing bada boom, we got everybody. Everyone was killed. So yeah, it was worth it. Now, this next little part, basically, we only had about 20-ish seconds left, but I just wanted to make sure that we were going to be safe to get out. So I actually did the smoke trail through this hallway on the right, and then I trailed it to the left so that we got a little bit of coverage on the left as well. That way, if they do try to actually push, that hallway is pretty much going to be, you know, useless. They can't shoot us from there. They'd have to run up, basically. So, yeah. And then I put a little green smoke there at the end too, just for the, you know, the fun. Just to show you guys it's real. There's a lot of people for some reason who don't believe putting that smoke down, you can heal people with it. It's weird. Anyways. As for this next example, we ended up getting into a gunfight. One of our guys went down, right? And then we ended up killing 2 people, but we still had a 3rd guy out there. So to confuse him a little bit, I went ahead and did a line of smoke here to make it look like I might be pushing up from there. And then I threw a smoke behind these 2 while he's reviving, closed the door. This way, we actually created more space, more uncertainty of what's actually fully happening where, and we ended up getting the revive off totally fine, and it was 1 guy versus us now. So you kind of want to use these smokes very defensively or offensively, depending on the situation. Here we have our last example of basically me not communicating well actually with my teammate that I was going to throw this grenade down, and then we created space. They no longer can see us coming through the doorway or knowing when. They can just go off of audio, and what we knew was that there was 2 people in there somewhere. 1 guy jumped off, so we knew that, so there was only 1 guy left. He wasn't behind the desks. We knew that he would be over there, probably in the doorway. I saw his head, bing bada boom. Problem solved, right? Sometimes you can use smokes to run into rooms. Basically make it to where what used to be a line of sight to be controlled, now you throw a smoke and you control that area. With all that being said, I hope that you learned something useful, that you are inspired to become a better stinger as you play with your teammates, and I hope that you get compliments on the way that you play from here on out. Now, I will say it takes some time to actually kind of get used to making some of these plays, but I hope that it is very, very fruitful for you, that you're able to take out teams a little more easy, or, you know, keep your teammates alive. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.